shocked that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, and so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
It's a story that made national headlines. A Los Angeles police detective found guilty of murder. Eyewitness News covered this case extensively. Stephanie Lazarus was convicted in 2012 of killing her ex-lover's wife in 1986. Prosecutors say she didn't commit a crime of passion, but a deliberate killing. And now, years after her conviction, back in the news, having recently been denied parole.
Police investigators shot and killed off duty this morning in a quiet Douglas County neighborhood.
Amber Guyger's life spiraled after this moment in 2018.
And I ask God for forgiveness, and I hate myself.
The former Dallas cop convicted of murdering Botham Jean in his own apartment the year after, sentenced to 10 years. Guyger lived above him and entered Botham's home thinking it was hers after she got off work and shot him, fearing he was a threat.
I always felt that the 10-year sentence was inadequate.
5 years later, Guyger is eligible for parole, and Botham's mother, Allison, is asking family, friends, anyone disturbed by her son's murder to advocate denying Guyger free air to the state.
I believe she deserves to stay in prison for the 10-year period.
Guyger's parole hearing hasn't happened yet, according to one of her attorneys. She automatically gets one, they add.
You're going to look at the seriousness of the offense, obviously. Has she been a model prisoner? Is she a security risk if you leave her out and you keep her under supervision?
Those are the questions the parole board will be asking, according to former Dallas County and federal prosecutor, now defense attorney, Tali Hafar. And even though this case is unique, it's still murder, Hafar says.
I'd be hard-pressed to see her being released on this first one.
Can I give her a hug, please?
A jaw-dropping moment at the end of Guyger's trial. Bo's brother, Brant, got up from the stand and embraced Guyger, forgiving her, even saying he doesn't want her to go to jail over what happened.
I acknowledge what Brant did, but it does not erase the accountability that Amber Guyger has to bear for what she did to us.
In Dallas,
forgiveness is one thing, accountability is another.
A use of force training by a former Minneapolis police officer convicted in the 2021 killing of Daunte Wright is drawing outrage from the family of the man she killed. Kim Potter fatally shot the unarmed 22-year-old during a traffic stop in the Minneapolis suburb of Brooklyn Center after mistaking her gun for her taser. Potter was set to co-present a use of force training to officers in Washington state last month, alongside the former prosecutor who initially charged her.
I met with her and I said, "What do you want to do?" And she said, "I want to save lives and I want to still serve my community." And I was like, wow.
Ali initially charged Potter with manslaughter, but resigned in protest over what he describes as vitriol and partisan politics around the case. Wright's death coincided with former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's trial for the murder of George Floyd, igniting a week of violent protests. A planned training by the pair for the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board was abruptly canceled after details of Potter's participation became public. A review by the Associated Press found Ali and Potter have previously appeared before law enforcement groups in Minnesota and Indiana. Daunte's mother, Katie Wright, said she only learned about Potter's involvement when a reporter called her.
I was disgusted when I heard the opening statement be, "I shot and killed Daunte Wright. I'm not proud of it, and you shouldn't be either." Why would you even need to say that?
Potter did not respond to the AP's request for comment, but Ali says her message is healing for police and the public.
I think it's important to have an officer say, "I made a mistake. It's not okay. But here's what I want to offer as lessons learned."
For Wright, the training has reopened the trauma of losing her child.
Kim Potter had her second chance. She got to go home with her children after 14 months of serving prison time. We don't have a second chance to be able to bring our loved ones back.
Once a driver has been pulled over, police will likely run your license plates through a database to see if the car is stolen or whether there's a warrant out for the driver. As we mentioned in a fact finders just before Tyreek Hill's arrest, you do have to follow reasonable requests from the officer. You should let them see your driver's license. You should show them proof of insurance. So cooperate and communicate with the officer. But during a traffic stop, drivers have constitutional rights against incriminating themselves or permitting the search of their car, especially if you're at the point of being arrested.
And overall, just cooperate, be respectful. But then once, if it gets amped up to the where they're charging you, they're saying, hey, you're under arrest, and they're reading you your Miranda rights, whole different world then. Every criminal defense lawyer on earth is going to say, don't say another word, call an attorney.
Also, you do have the right to ask officers questions. Passengers can also ask if they can leave the scene of the traffic stop. Keep in mind, the officer does have the right to ask drivers and passengers to get out of the car, and officers can use reasonable force to make sure that happens.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m., bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We're going to start our day out in Wilmington, where an ex-Wilmington cop has been caught on video smashing a man's head during an arrest. Oh. Uh-oh. He's been sentenced? What? He was sentenced for assault. Let's see what happens here. We're just going to whiz by this guy, check him out. He's going to buy some stuff. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He's reaching. He's looking in. Oh, he's getting money out. Look, he's counting his dollars. Here you go, sir. Look, this guy's casual. He's got his flip-flops on. It's probably morning time. He's just going to get some orange juice or something. How's it going, sir? Nice day, nice day. Oh, hey, encounter a cop. What? There's a cop coming in the door. What do you want, buddy? Oh, hey, you seem like a suspect I might want to smash up against the wall for some reason. Whoa, bang, 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 bang. Uh-oh. Smashed his head up against the wall. And here's the story, guys. Former Wilmington police officer was sentenced for assault, official misconduct, and evidence tampering charges Friday, stemming from a violent arrest that prompted protests in 2021. Stirring up trouble, bad cop. Despite prosecutors arguing his excessive force and subsequent lies and official paperwork deserved a prison sentence of 6 months, the presiding judge said he felt a sentence of probation would serve as justice in this case. Oh, it's going to be one of those days, you guys. I can just feel it coming on. Samuel Waters' defense argued that he'd already suffered consequences, including the loss of his job as a police officer, as well as pending federal lawsuit, and successfully arguing for a probationary sentence. Last year, a jury found Waters guilty of misdemeanor assault and official misconduct for repeatedly slamming a man's head against a wall of a Southbridge store, as well as felony evidence tampering for lying about the circumstances of the encounter with the man and the subsequent police report. Video of the violent arrest circulated on social media in 2021, prompting demonstrations and Waters' eventual firing from the Wilmington Police Department. The jury acquitted him of felony perjury related to his statements following the interaction. Great jury. Okay, he was also acquitted of another count of assault for a separate violent arrest that took place days before the encounter that led up to his guilty verdicts. So there's a pattern and practice for old Samuel Waters. The encounter that led to Waters' guilty verdict stemmed from his response to a harassment complaint at a nearby business. The suspect in the case, Dwayne Brown, had just made a purchase at a convenience store in Southbridge when Waters approached him. Waters' body camera was not activated during the interaction, but the arrest was captured on security cam footage, and we just scrolled through that real fast because of, YouTube and stuff. After a brief interaction, Waters turned Brown around and placed one of Brown's hands in a plexiglass wall. Waters then briefly grabbed a hold of Brown's other arm before he placed his own hand on Brown's head and rammed it into a plexiglass wall. That's not very nice, Waters. After the head bounce, Waters escorted Brown outside and placed him under arrest for harassment and resisting arrest charges that were ultimately dropped. Outside, his body camera was activated as Waters had Brown pinned against an outside wall. Waters told Brown, maybe next time he will listen instead of being an expletive. What's that? Okay, Brown angrily replied, you smashed my face into the glass for nothing. That is not effing proper procedure, dude, Brown told Waters in the footage. I wasn't doing anything but asking you questions. You were wrong. Testifying to the jury Waters trial, Joseph Leary, a Wilmington police officer who trains others in the use of force, agreed with Brown's assessment. Well, He told the jury that department training and policy do not endorse bouncing a suspect's head off a wall generally. Force to the face, neck, and back area are regarded as red zones. That's why cops go for it, because of the potential to cause serious and permanent injury. That's why cops go for it. There was nothing that was going on where that level of force was required, Larry told the jury. Whoa. The guilty verdict related to Waters' lying was built on comparisons of his subsequent police report and his oral statements captured on body camera footage afterward. In body camera footage after Brown's arrest, he told someone he had no idea who Brown was, but he authored police reports and other documents in the aftermath of the arrest that were examined during the trial. In that narrative of Brown's arrest, he claimed that the harassment victim showed him a picture and he immediately recognized Brown, which prosecutors said was a lie. That's perjury, and he got off on that, of course. Waters also included information about Brown's criminal history that prosecutors said was meant as an after-the-fact justification for his violent tactics during the arrest. Oh, lying cop. Make the victim into the bad guy. In court Friday, Deputy Attorney General Dan McBride, who leads the State Attorney General's Office of Civil Rights and Public Trust, also noted a conversation Waters had with a supervisor directly after the incident. This is going to be good. McBride and Waters told his supervisors that Brown harassed the only white female working at the business. Oh, let's stir up a little racial tension there, you big idiot. Waters is a knucklehead. Okay, so there's much more arguments over prison time. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Who cares? All right. What we do know is that Waters got off, okay, very lightly. He gets probation. He doesn't get to be a cop anymore. But you know what he does get? He gets to be on the cover of the Bad Apple Report because he's a terrible bad apple. Okay, on with the show.
Well, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office says this morning a man attempted to break into the front door of this house back here and was shot and killed by the homeowner. Atlanta police confirmed the person who died is one of their detectives, Aubrey Horton. He was off duty. APD says he joined the force in 2015 and was most recently assigned to their fugitive unit. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office, who's leading the investigation, says the suspect was caught on video and appeared to be having a mental health episode or may have been under the influence of narcotics while breaking into the home. They added that he lives in this same neighborhood about a half a mile away from where this shooting happened. Right now, no one is facing any charges that we are aware of. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office says the homeowner here was acting in self-defense when they fired those shots, but they say this is still a very open and ongoing investigation.
You guys, we have an update to this old Roscoe P. Coltrane driving deputy from Catawba County. You know the one. Check this out.
Moment, a Catawba County deputy crashed outside a gas station, nearly hitting someone. Take a look. You can see the deputy swerve and then crash into another vehicle outside the convenience store. Officials say the deputy swerved to avoid a car that pulled in front of him while he was responding to a 911 call. The deputy was taken to a hospital but is okay. Nobody else got hurt. State Highway Patrol is investigating.
Oh, well, that's what happened. You all remember that. Well, looky here. Newton, North Carolina, the deputy who violently crashed into vehicles at Catawba County convenience store last month has been charged. North Carolina State Highway Patrol said on Thursday. On September 15th, troopers say Catawba County deputy, here's his name, you guys, Jarrett Isaac. I'm sorry, Jarrett, we had to do it, but you're a knucklehead. He was traveling on Sheriff's Ford Road when he swerved to avoid another vehicle, and then entering the gold mine store and grill, colliding into several parked cars, as you all saw in the video there. The sheriff's office reported that it was a domestic-related call. He was in a hurry. I wonder if it was his own. Okay, I'm not going to go there. And the vehicle did not have lights or sirens activated. I'm going to get home, see if he's in there. Just kidding. Just kidding. After consulting with the Catawba County District Attorney's Office, the reports that Isaac was charged with careless and reckless driving. Isaac, oh no, was issued a citation and will appear in court at a future date. Okay. Following the collision, Isaac was transported to Catawba Valley Medical Center. Oh no, minor injuries. Occupant of another vehicle that was struck also had minor injuries. Okay. It was a pretty lucky situation that nobody got killed. Okay. Jarrett, Isaac, goofball. All right, on with the show.
I mean, think about it, Philip. You know the story. They start with, oh, it's 1986 and it seems like a burglary gone wrong. Okay. Even though it was suspicious that it was happening, it happened in a gated high-end community in Van Nuys. Even the detectives were like, okay, well, that's odd. But they were convinced that it was a burglary gone wrong. And then 2 months later, when a similar case happened, that was it. They closed, that's it. It's
kind of like confirmational bias at that point.
Yes, yes. And you know, look, we have to trust the instincts. They were veteran detectives, and they truly believed that this is what happened. But lo and behold, a few years later, when DNA was really just getting hot.
Beyond a few years.
Yeah,
I mean, this is like
several.
from 1986 to 2001, give or take, when it began.
Exactly. So the cold case, so now the government's giving all kinds of money to go back and look at some cases where we can use this new DNA technology. So in 2005, they had in evidence a bite mark, a swab from a bite mark, as you know, right? So the victim was bitten. All right, so.
But even that evidence took some police detective because they had to track down the swab, right?
Well, okay, so it took forever to, so they didn't know where the swab was. It got misplaced. The chain of custody was a little bit messed up, but they finally found it. And then in 2005, now it still took 4 years to do the testing. All right, so in 2005, they do the testing on the bite, and the criminalist says, well, you know what? There's no one in the CODIS system, the one that tracks DNA. We can't match it to anybody in the CODIS system, but here's something interesting. It's a female bite mark. And to me, that was, well, wow, that kind of changes the story. But the detective said, well, it could be a tag team, man and woman, and, you know, the woman. So they could not change the narrative.
And it was another member of the cold case who went, wait a minute, let's look at this. And then
different cold case.
Right, and then they start tracking. They had to follow her quickly. We've only got a minute.
Okay.
You may even, the father involved, we're going to be interviewing the father tonight.
Right.
So the father did at least suspect a little bit of something going on.
The father had always,
more intrigue.
Yes, the father always believed that it was someone who the victim's husband knew. And so eventually the new set of detectives in 2009, they pinpoint it. They go surreptitiously get the DNA from this cop. It's an incredible story of how they finally got Stephanie Lazarus. I mean,
to serve and protect. That's right. Maybe swerve and eject your juvenile passenger. No, it didn't happen like that, but it could have. This off-duty IMPD officer arrested for drunk driving with juvenile passenger in car. Knuckleheads. An Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department officer has been arrested on multiple OWI charges. A public police report filed on Sunday indicates 35-year-old James Ellis Cox was preliminarily charged with operating while intoxicated and operating while intoxicated, causing endangerment to a passenger under 18. Indiana's public court reporting system confirms Cox was officially charged with operating a vehicle while intoxicating, causing endangerment to a person, and operating a vehicle with an alcohol concentration equivalent to at least 0.08, but less than 0.15. Uh-oh. So he was kind of just slightly drunk. I don't know. I have no idea. Allegedly. Both of the charges Cox faces are misdemeanors. An affidavit for probable cause filed Sunday indicates one of Cox's fellow IMPD officers was sitting in a squad car in a parking lot near Prospect Street and Southeastern Avenue around 2:19 a.m. What are you doing out at 2:19 a.m. with a minor in your car? Sunday, when he heard a car revving its engine, the officer then watched a large gray SUV that was traveling eastbound past a white passenger car that was moving in the same direction. Woo, aggression, boy. The driver of the SUV swerved, swerve and protect, into the westbound lanes of Southeastern Avenue to pass the white car. After observing the incident involving the SUV and the white car, the IMPD officer in that area went after the driver of the SUV. Court records indicate the driver of the SUV may have reached speeds of 80 or 90 before he pulled over. Was he evading? Was he? The officer who initiated the traffic stop with the SUV determined the driver was Cox. Cox. You sucker. According to court documents, police also smelled the odor of alcohol coming from Cox's vehicle. Police ultimately asked Cox to step out of his car and participate in a field sobriety test per court records. Okay, Cox failed at least 3 of the tests he was subjected to. Okay, police ultimately asked Cox to step out of his car and participate in a few field sobriety tests per court records. Cox failed at least 3 of the tests he was subjected to. Okay. Cox later agreed to take a portable breath test, PBT. The test revealed his alcohol content was 0.087. A certified breath test Cox took at the Criminal Justice Center revealed that his alcohol was 0.084. Police reported that they also observed Cox has been driving, with a juvenile in the passenger seat of his car. Cox told law enforcement he and the juvenile were coming home from a play date downtown. When officers asked Cox if he had consumed any alcohol beverages, he told them he'd had a couple shots of tequila approximately 2 hours before he was pulled over. According to court documents, Cox also told police he was speeding because the juvenile needed to go to the bathroom. Indicates IMPD officers James Cox was implicated in a domestic battery incident in 2021. Uh-oh. Records obtained by blah, blah, blah. So, now it's all going to come out about you, goofball. Just kidding. You got in trouble. You shouldn't have those couple of shots. Now you're on the Bad Apple Report. On with the show.
It still lingers, the memory of the impact that I could have died right there.
Days later, and Michael Phillips still gets nervous crossing the street.
Right here, with my umbrella on, just minding my own business.
Early Tuesday morning, he says he was on his way to work and crossing here at 14th and U around 6:30 a.m. when out of nowhere.
I had about 15 seconds to make it to the other side of the street, and then I saw light through my umbrella at the time, and then I told them, "You hit me with your car." They were still holding on the wheel. They were like gesturing, "I'm sorry," and then they just sped off. This is right after I got hit.
Phillips snapping this pic before the driver took off, but the car didn't have license plates. He says what happened next added insult to injury.
And the cops are parked right here.
He says there were 2 police cars parked nearby, and when he asked the officers inside for help,
"Hey, I was still holding my phone, I was shaking. I got hit by that car. Can you do something about it? Can I file a report? Can you chase after that car?" They didn't do anything. They just looked at me, and then they drove down 14th Street. And everybody in the bus stop that saw it, they all just said, "What the?" at the time.
Now he's demanding answers. He reported the hit-and-run crash later that morning, but he hasn't heard anything from investigators. Thankfully, he wasn't seriously hurt physically, but he says as a taxpayer, he deserved more.
I feel disappointed and some sort of betrayal. I thought the police were supposed to help us.
We asked MPD about it, and a rep for the department saying, "Our 3rd district looked into this and found no indication that officers in the area were aware that a crash had occurred. There is regularly a visible patrol presence in the area of that intersection." The complainant in this case reported the crash later that morning at a nearby district station.
Why didn't they do anything? And if this happened to me, it could have happened to anyone else at a far worse situation than I have ever been. Like, you're supposed to help people.
And Phillips says he's not going to stop trying to get answers. He posted his story on Reddit looking for advice, and he says he plans to reach out to his ANC commissioner and DC council. In the district, Walter Morris, News 4.
Thank you so much for being here today to watch the Bad Apple Report, folks. I really appreciate it. Sorry I missed the show yesterday. The YouTube censors had made me mad the day before yesterday when they messed up all my hard work. And so, anyways, you guys are wonderful. Thank you again for being here. We have a big show again coming tomorrow. So we'll see you right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early.